My younger brother asked to borrow $5,000. When I said no, he said, then they're going to kill me. Reese showed up at my apartment without calling first. He looked terrible, hair uncombed, wearing the same clothes I'd seen him in 3 days earlier when we'd had coffee. I need $5,000, he said. No hello, no small talk. I laughed because I thought he was joking. Told him I needed $5,000 too. Reese insisted he was serious, his hands shaking as he said he needed it by Friday. I asked what for. He wouldn't look at me, said he couldn't tell me. I kept my voice calm, even though I was getting worried. Told him if he couldn't tell me, then I couldn't give it to him. Reese had always been the responsible one, the brother who graduated early, who never asked for anything. They're going to kill me, he said quietly. My stomach dropped. I asked who was threatening him, but he just pressed his palms against his eyes and said again that he needed the money. I spent the next 2 days trying to figure out what was happening. I called our sister Louise, but she hadn't heard from him in weeks. I drove past his apartment twice. His car was there, but he wouldn't answer the door. I even considered calling the police. But what would I tell them? My brother asked for money and used dramatic language. On Thursday, I got a call from someone named Violet, asking if I was Reese's brother. When I confirmed and asked who she was, she explained that Reese had given her my number for emergencies, and she thought this qualified. I asked what was going on. Violet hesitated, then asked if Reese hadn't told me. She explained they'd been planning this for 8 months, that she'd finally got her documents in order, lawyers' fees, tickets, deposit on the apartment, all of it coming to exactly $5,000. Reese had promised he had it covered. I asked what documents she meant. I'm his fiancée, Violet said. From the Philippines. I'm supposed to arrive Saturday. He sponsored my visa, signed all the paperwork, told everyone back home he'd take care of everything. If I don't come now, I lose my spot. The visa expires. My family already threw me a going-away party. They sold furniture to buy me new clothes. Everyone knows. I felt sick. Told her he didn't have the money. Violet said she knew. She explained that Reese had called her the night before crying, that he'd been saving for months but his roommate Anton had stolen it, took his ATM card, drained everything, disappeared. Reese had filed a police report, but the money was gone. I asked why he hadn't told me this. Because, her voice broke. He's so ashamed. He promised me, promised my family. He told them he was successful, that he could provide. If I don't come, I'm humiliated. My family will never forgive me for the expense, for the drama. And Reese, he thinks I'll believe he lied about everything, that he scammed me. I drove to Reese's apartment and pounded on the door until he opened it. I told him Violet had called me. He looked shattered. I realized then what he'd meant. Not physical death, but the death of his dignity, his promises, his relationship, the death of the responsible brother who always had everything under control. I couldn't tell you I got robbed, he whispered. You always said I was too trusting. You warned me about Anton. And I let everyone down. I pulled out my phone and told him I was calling the bank, setting up a wire transfer. Reese said I'd told him no. I said no when I thought you were in danger. This is different. I waited for him to argue, but he just stood there, tears running down his face. The money transferred Friday afternoon. Violet landed Saturday evening. Reese picked her up from the airport, and when I met them for dinner that night, I understood why he'd mortgaged his dignity for her. She looked at him like he'd saved her life, which, in a way, he had. Reese thanked me in the parking lot afterward, promised he'd pay me back. I told him I knew he would, and I meant it. The brother who couldn't ask for help until it meant losing everything was exactly the brother who'd work 3 jobs to return a loan. What I didn't know until 2 months later, when Reese and Violet came over for lunch, was that Anton hadn't stolen anything. There was no roommate named Anton. Reese had never saved the money because he'd been sending it to Violet's family in the Philippines for months, for her grandmother's surgery, for her sister's school fees, for things that mattered more than pride. I couldn't tell you I'd been giving it away, he admitted. You would have said I was being used. Violet squeezed his hand and said her family knew what he'd done, that they wanted him to visit, wanted to thank the man who gave up everything.